Hi, everybody. I'm Kristen Cavan, and I'm going live here with Juliet Stapleton. I never go live. This is a very unusual experience for me. Oh my
You're
gosh.
doing so well. No,
Well,
everything is cool and you're doing so well. And I love that you're live. It's absolutely wonderful.
I realized I had I had the YouTube open in the background. I could hear it. So
You know
starting
what I
over.
say? When it's live, oh, we don't have to start over. Life
Okay.
is life, right? So if we had a conversation here and then something happened, I don't know, some like crazy stuff happened, Hoover came in into the room, you would have to get up. And so live streams are exactly the same. And I
Yeah,
love them because they're real.
but I'm trying to be professional here because this is my first live, thing, and you're a big deal, and so
Oh,
I'm
thank
trying to
you.
be I'm trying to be like Oprah here, right? Like well, God bless Oprah. I don't think she ever did this, but anyway, so I am really here to applaud and support and lift up Juliet Stapleton, who is an amazing marketing coach, and she just came out with her first book, and I'm so proud of you because your marketing was so good that I believe you hit the Amazon bestseller list your first weekend out, which was launched last weekend.
I could not believe it. Honestly, I was a bestseller for 5 days straight in marketing, which is, amazing, not just some obscure category, but it was a bestseller. And it was just something I did not expect. I just wanted to put this book out into the world. I did not do it for profits. I did not do it for any kind of reason other than have something that people can find me through, and I'm just over the moon with the results so far and the
It's just
reviews.
wonderful. No, I mean everybody who's got something to tell the world needs a book. You're out there
Yeah.
speaking, you're out there coaching, you're out there, you do interviews in all these like, okay, come on, name some of the things on your website. You've been in Forbes or whatever, all these. Yeah.
Yeah, I was mentioned in Forbes. I was actually very lucky. I was mentioned in Forbes on the topic of showing up in uncertain times. And even though it was in pandemic time, it's always relevant because we are living in human life is always uncertain times
Right.
here and there. So I'm really, really lucky. I contribute to Entrepreneur. I'm one of their not paying for it, and I'm contributing. And
Don't
yeah.
say that. Let us think that you're like a highly paid, highly
No, I don't
successful
mean they don't
product.
pay me. I mean I don't pay for contributing. I am not one of
Oh
those
gosh, no.
parts.
Okay,
Yes,
that's
yes, yes.
legit.
So yeah, all on merit. And I actually have to say something. There is a credibility marker I just realized this year. Earlier this year, the Washington Post came out and they popularized human design, which is kind of my one of my niches. I'm a marketer with flavor of human design, and that's what this book is about. And so the Washington Post came out and they said anagrams are out, human design is in. And it was in January. And I looked at that, and everybody was like, oh, this is it. Washington Post talks about this. And I thought, well, a year before that in Entrepreneur, which is just as big, right? I wrote an article about human design for marketing. So I was
Oh,
a
right.
pioneer of writing as a contributor. And that was really, really cool realization that it's out there and it's been
Yeah.
there a year before it became popular.
Well, so that's why I think it's great your book is out there because people are really curious about human design, and it's really powerful stuff, and it's very mysterious. And it's woo, it's astrological based, and people don't realize that what you do is you like actually apply it in a way that is so powerful because it really helps us understand who we are essentially, who we are energetically, and what it is that people need from us, what's our purpose. There's so much in it that's so valuable. Um, yeah, I'd like to say this just one thing about the Enneagram because I know a lot of my friends have done that at parties. And I'm always going like, no, I'm a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. They all apply to me. I like get
Mm.
this. I'm a human being and these are all my strengths and I have a lot of strengths. So what I like about human design is it's not subjective. You don't have to
Mm.
see yourself. And I'm someone who actually has a pretty bad mirror because I can't always see who I am. I'm always seeing other people, and it's difficult for me to understand who I am. but this actually just like does that for you. And it was huge for me to kind of get an actual objective perspective. I mean, I hired Juliet for like $99 to do a marketing plan for me based on my profile, my chart, whatever. And I was astonished to see that, like, number one, you saw me, like you really got like, like you got the nuance of me, and also it really helped me to kind of like push away the things that I'm not. Like I'm somebody who I'm seen as like somebody who gets everything done, but like I'm also realizing that that's something that I have the power for, but it's also going to kill me. Right. And but I don't have to do that. That's something I do collaboratively with other people. I help other energize other people's projects, but it's not actually me. I actually don't have that kind of definition. And so just so many amazing kind of like ahas about myself. And
You're
so
amplifier. You're an amplifier. You don't have to have definition for an amplifier. You need to have openness. You take things in and you amplify them. And
yeah.
you know what? Amplification is always stronger than the original source, right? So that's what you do, and it's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's also it's beautiful and it's confusing because I can end up being like a fire hose,
Yes.
because I'm amplifying like everybody I'm working with. I'm so enthusiastic about that people are like, what? Like, clouds and mirrors. But I also understand that with my design, that's part of it. People
Yeah.
project things on me. People see different things in me. People see themselves in me a lot. They assume that I'm something, and get so disappointed when they find out I'm not, what they were expecting. So it's very it's just
It's so
it
interesting what you're
validated.
saying.
It
Yes, it's
validated.
so
Yeah, yeah.
it
And
is so
apparently,
interesting what you're saying. We're talking again. But that's what happens, right? That's what happens. But I want to make this point that because you have a 5-2 profile in human design. For anyone who knows a little bit about human design, just going to put things into place. And that was one of the things that really, really motivated me to even maybe go deeper into human design, line 5, and how these projections work, because I saw myself projecting at people. And it's not even that they see themselves and you, but they always come to you and you feel so capable, so their hopes start getting projected at you. It's always about them, it's never about you. And I just think that it's amazing when you, especially with this, because it can cause a lot of drama, especially when people get disappointed. And they don't get disappointed because you did something, they get disappointed because something that they hoped for, that was false hope, didn't live up to that hope. And so there is this switch, and the switch is so strong, and you can't physically or mentally or any other way energetically switch back. That's what happens with line 5, and that's why it's so weird, because I know there's switches that happened in my life with people with line 5, and you can't go back. You cannot go back. And so when you know about this, it just gives you so much freedom.
oh,
And I
because
think that
you don't take it personally anymore. And like,
exactly,
yeah, and
exactly.
there's a lot of there's sometimes there's blame around that, and sometimes there's confusion. Why doesn't that person, why doesn't it feel the same anymore? And so yeah, it really helps me let things go. Yeah, and also there was a line that you said there, like, and sometimes if you disappoint people, they come after you with knives and pitchforks. And I was
Oh
like,
my God, pitchforks come out. Yes, that's what happens, because they project you. You know,
yeah,
nobody is as bitter and angry as someone who's disappointed in
yeah.
someone else. It's always like, because they are suddenly feel stupid that they, even hoped before or thought something before. It's all always about them. And when people get, when they feel like it's about them, they get defensive. So that's where the pitchforks, and, you
Right,
don't
and I'm
just
like,
walk
that is
away.
so not what my energy's about. Like,
Yeah,
that is
no.
so not anything that I ever even put out in the world. I don't like get in conflict with people. I do stand up for, things that justice and, truth. And like, I also see ideas that are so clear. Sometimes like I am designed to like see um things, like I have different senses. Like when there's a problem, I can often be like really see what needs to be done. Um, but anyway, I don't want to talk too much about me because but I do want to talk about how you've helped me. And and I have a big announcement in that I'm switching platforms, and that's all these different platforms where you have to, being a person who gives to the world and teaches and reads and entertains and, all the things I do, we do. Um, we do need to be seen. And I never cared about marketing because it's like, I love designing websites. It's so fun. It's a mode of expression for me. I love doing blogs. I write them like books. I have like 25 different blogs, right? And they're all about something different. But I finally found a platform that I think is going to work well with, that kind of, newsletter energy that I have. So I'm going to be starting a Substack account, and I'll put the link in down here, and it's going to be launching next month. And I'm going to be using my cool marketing, awareness from Juliet. And so you'll be able to check that out and go, I knew that about her, but she's like always too shy to say that about herself. And kind of stepping into my my actual like aura, my own aura, right? I was going
It
to
is
name
fascinating.
I
I'm
was
so
going to-
excited to hear that. Yeah, sorry.
I was actually going to name it Aura. But that actually ended up feeling like a little bit too woo,
Too woo,
a little
yeah.
too serious, and I'm a super playful person, so it's now called Blog Cabin.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
And the
Feels
reason
good.
for that is because my name rhymes with cabin, and everybody who reads it pronounces it wrong the first time. So I'm gonna just put it up there, Kristen Cabin, Blog Cabin.
I love it. And that's really good. And this
Being
is how your
seen and
creativity
being heard.
shines.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
yes, exactly. Oh my God, I love this. I love that. You said something that, I never cared for marketing. A lot of people with line 5, especially 5 1s, 5 2s in their human design profile. This is my experience. They don't like talking about themselves. They don't like tooting their own horn. Maybe it is to do with dealing with projections from the moment they're born and, just like not
Well, also
wanting to
not knowing.
invite
Like I'll say
and
this
not
about me
knowing.
today,
Yeah.
and then tomorrow I'll feel like different. I was like, ooh, did I say that? So it's
And this
weird.
is
I'm
so
sorry, it's weird.
yeah, there's so many factors though. It's not like we can't just generalize, but in general, like line 5 is actually the natural born marketer. And the reason the proper way to see it is that when you speak, people listen. You are here to condition other people. And therefore, when you speak, people will tune in, even if they are projecting hopes at you. And that's a natural marketer's trait. So it's like people with line 5 are here to be marketing. It doesn't mean that I don't have a 5 in my profile. I am the queen of visibility, as they call me. That doesn't mean you can't if you don't have this. But when you have this, then you can own it. You can really say, you know what? Yeah. And it doesn't matter that I speak about one thing today and the other thing tomorrow. Every time I speak, people will listen. I
Right.
have this thing.
Yeah.
And I believe in you. I just love the energy, and there's just so much I love the multifaceted you, and I think that this book cabin thing is going to be amazing.
I was also going to call it Fountain of Jewels because, like, I teach positive psychology and flourishing, and I just like really see artists. I was going to do that for artists, and then COVID and waylaid, and I'm on to other projects, but the that could still be a thing. But my logo for that was my image for that was a fountain of jewels. How we find these things, we form these hard shiny things in us, and then we express them. So
I love it. Yeah.
yeah.
I like the name book cabin better, but I do just because it rolls off the tongue better. But I actually
it's
love this, and this could be
non-intimidating.
something else. It
Right,
could be
right.
still used because
Yeah,
I love how when you're explaining it, it's just beautiful.
Oh, thanks. Okay, so I'm also somebody who, like most of my people, will be watching this. They're all smart. They're all like creative. They're all people who like really give to the world and change the world, and really work for good to make the world a better place. And I have books about and a lot of them are authors. Okay, a lot of them are writers because I work I work in the California Writers Club, and it's this really old organization that, oh my God, don't get me started. It was don't get me started. But I'm very curious for you as an author. I just really want to applaud you when you get that first box of books, that first shipment, when you first see your work and your words in print, and and the perfection of it and the imperfection of it, and then but once you launch, you're like you're out there. And tell me a couple stories about, what it was like. It was less than a week ago. It was a week ago tomorrow that this book hit the world.
That's right.
And you were really great about asking everybody, and you have a big network, asking people to, leave you a review on the first day, and you gave away the Kindle version for free for what, 5 days or something. And
Mhm.
it's still, I think it's still discounted. You'll tell me about that, but tell
Okay,
me
yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit about your experience.
Oh, I
um,
love that. Thank you so much for asking, because I really want to talk about the experience. And I did not have a shipment of a first kind of like a box. Thank God for that, because I made so many errors in the book. In human design, I have a 1-3 profile. Line 3 learns from mistakes. It's always like it's like a cock up after cock up after cock up, but you just like fix and move on. And
I
that's
feel like
I'm
I'm
happy
like that too. So
in a
that
way.
is
Yeah.
so relatable. Okay, that's so
It is
relatable.
It is an experience. It's the first time I wrote a book. I have never written a book, and I never even. I always loved writing. I never called myself a writer, and I always thought, no, I'm not a writer, until I wrote a very long post, one of my long posts on Facebook. It was
Yeah, can I just say she's an
2018.
amazing writer, and her Facebook posts are so informative. Not on your website too, just so much great information you get out there. So you're a great writer.
It
So
just
go on.
pours, it just
It
pours.
does,
And
right. It comes
it's,
up.
you often, my blogs start as a Facebook post, and then I get very, because I'm a projector like yourself, so projectors have very little access to energy, so we get like burst, and then poof, we need to recharge. And so I love repurposing stuff, and sometimes I just want to share, and Facebook is my platform, and I'm gonna share and then put it on the blog. So when I started writing a book, and this is actually really relevant to the book, I thought what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take all the good blog posts that I wrote and put them together. I had this vision, and I had that vision way before I came to human design, to have the book that's called Confessions of the Queen of Visibility. I was so consistent on my Facebook profile. People called me the Queen of Visibility, right? And I thought, okay, I'll own it. And then last year I had this amazing photo shoot with a queen role playing, sort of like the
You can see it
queen
on her book cover.
thing.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And this
It's
is
like
the book. So
waving
this
some
is
hands.
one of the photographs that we did. And it was kind of like a fun photo shoot. And then when I came home and I looked at the pictures, and I thought, oh my God, this is the Queen of Visibility. So I changed my website, and it just kind of unlocked the new level and gave me a lot of creativity. And so I put together all these blog posts and sent it to a book coach. And she said, this is like someone with ADHD, no offense, wrote it. This is just so disjointed. What did you do? And I realized I needed to take it seriously. And of course, I looked at it, and I wrote a book over 8 months, but there was a very big break. There was a 4 or 5 months break because my husband got sick, and I talk about it in the book. My husband had cancer in
Very
2017,
touchy.
and his cancer came back, and unfortunately, through horrendous battle with brain cancer, we lost him this year. And when he was leaving, there was very short lucid moments where he literally blessed me to do this. He even though he was very confused, but then there would be the moment when he'd be saying, you do not dare give up on this. I see a huge growth curve ahead of you. You keep going. You are not to give up on this, no matter what's happening. And even he didn't want to talk about the pain and the fact that all these things, and I don't even know if he realized it. I'm sure he did, because he was a splenic projector, so the knowing was inside, but he never spoke. He was Irish, so like proper Irish from Ireland, so he didn't talk about feelings and things directly. But these things were so precious for me, because they just gave me so much healing. Then I could dive into this when I lost him, and this was a tribute to him. By the way, he had the same environmental style as you, or environment style, which is shores. And shores, people with environment of shores, they're natural born mentors. They take people from one shore to another, and sometimes they leave them there. And that's how I felt in a grand scheme of things. That's what my husband did. He nurtured me into who I am. Definitely tough lessons, good lessons, so much my level of standards in life and everything. He was the mentor of that. And then he sort of like even pushing the boat away from the shore, and I was on the shore, and he was like, no, you just keep going. And so I wrote this book then after, after a month or so after he passed, because I felt like there's something that is really, really important that I do. What started for me as a marketer thinking, ooh, great lead generation thing, people will find me on Amazon or whatever, and it just turned into something so much bigger. And as you mentioned earlier, when the book, the very first copy came, and I looked at it, and it was like, it wasn't me anymore. It became so much bigger. And also, while my husband was sick, we connected with Mari Smith, who is a premier Facebook marketer, who I followed from whenever she started being a Facebook marketer, 2007. I think I was like a real fan. And then I got her newsletter where she said she's into human design and she's studying to be an analyst. And it blew my mind, because on that day, I think it was the day when I realized that my husband's brain is deteriorating so much that it's never going to be the whole conversation with the person who is all there. It was a very scary moment. And then this Mari came into my life, and I felt like there is something. This was a symbol where one door closes, but the other is opening. And we connected, we chatted on Facebook, and then we recorded an episode of my Visibility by Design podcast. And at the end, almost as a joke, when she said, well, if you need anything, reach out. And I said, well, you want to write a foreword for my new book, would you? As a joke. And she said, well, you just ask me. And I will never forget how I said, Mari Smith. Imagine you talking to your like idol, someone who you, not idol is not a good word, but someone you really looked up to and admired for so many, over a decade, 15 years probably. And she goes, ask me. And I asked, and she said, yes. Her whole body responded. She's a generator. Her whole body responded. And she has been so amazing. Her forward, when she wrote it and she sent to me, and I, put it into the app where I wrote the book, I felt it was so aligned. I could never, it was something like a match made in heaven, as they say. This was this collaboration, and it just opens the book in such a beautiful way. And then it goes into my personal story, and then into whole human design. We give a little bit of, introduction into what it is. So if you don't know what it is, but you love personality tests, you just love to know more about yourself, then it's going to be a very interesting book for you. And of course, then I'm not a human design certified reader. I do use it as a compass. So I create the blueprints, and you were one of my beta first clients for the blueprints, So it's very, very effective way of seeing things slightly differently. Maybe it's because I am not a human design expert and I don't have too much information that is didactically given to me in a certain way, that I can see it from my experience as a marketer. And so at the very end, when the book was almost ready, I said, I cannot create a book marketing by human design, which would be great keywords for a search engine to find me. And I thought, no, because this is here. It's my contemplation. It's what I see. And by the way, as a brand voice for a 1-3 profile in human design, who I am a 1-3, this is how you express yourself. You say, here's what I see. And I said, okay, this is going to be the actual confessions of the Queen of Visibility. And if I write another book, it will be a series, right? But this will be on marketing and human design. And it says, embody your true self and reclaim your power for magnetic online visibility. And it's so pretty. If I may say so myself. Pretty. I just love this book. It's so pretty. So yes, and when it came back, and I realized that something came out that was bigger than me. There will be a ripple effect. And I'm saying this, maybe it sounds a little bit, braggy, but this book is going to be powerful. When I send a call, I don't have a huge, massive audience. I really don't. I don't have a tiny audience, but I don't have a huge audience because I'm so selective as who is in my world. I celebrate anyone who unsubscribes from my email list. My email list is relatively small because I do not want incorrect people on there. So I'm happy to put people off, and it's very small. And I sent an email saying, will you join the Queen? And I could not believe how many people responded. One of the people who responded was also a person, a lady who I did a blueprint, marketing blueprint by design for, like yourself. And she was also a line 5 person, 5-1. And she was the founder of AMA Publishing. And they do a lot of collaborative books, but she is Monique Alvarez. She's really, really knowledgeable about how to promote, how to launch. And she said, I want to gift you the launch plan. I want to do something for you because, you know, your blueprint really changed my life. I really, like, I read it almost every week. And she told me what to do. Some things were very, very bold, like saying to people, hey, download my book and give me a 5-star rating there and then. I honestly felt very confident with this book to ask this. But I also knew that if it was incorrect, I sent people PDFs before that. So if somebody wanted, if they felt it was inauthentic for them, they could read the book. It's never a
Yeah, I
problem.
was one of those. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
let me look at it before I do this. And, you know, that
A
was,
few people did, and it's great. You know, I was so open, but I couldn't believe how many people were saying, I am on board with you. You know, I've been, you know, in your world for, some people were in my world for years. Some people, I did not even know who they were. And this book brought me together with these people, which is amazing because my world is opening up now with this launch as well. And we then, yeah, so we created the graphics and we created everything. And on last Friday, the 14th of July, we put the book out into the world, and I couldn't believe 24 hours it was #1 in marketing, it was #1 in home-based business, it was #2 in new age and spirituality, then it came to #1 the next day. In Germany as well, which is like in a large European site, it was also #1 marketing, business and money, and home-based business books in English. So I was like globally, you know, ranking at that #1, and it was so cool. I have all the screenshots, it was great. I never expected that. And so many amazing reviews started coming in, and when I read these reviews, I really tear up because they're genuine reviews. They're not reviews you just give your friend to support them. There are some things that people say that I see, I don't know this person, I don't know the name, I don't know how and who, but this is the ripple effect that I felt this book is going to make when it happens. And no, I didn't get flooded yet with clients. I mentioned my blueprint in the book, but that wasn't the point, right? That was never a point. What started strategically, thinking strategically about it, turned out to be me expressing myself. And I feel like I've been preparing for this moment for so long. And this is now a new door I opened. And it's something beautiful is going to happen for many people, and it's already happening for me, as in bringing so amazing people into my life, friends, and I felt like even though I lost my best friend and my partner and my mentor and, you know, my other half, now with this book the support is coming. There's more amazing people. This interview is, you know, this is your first live. This is how I'm so grateful that I am your first live stream, and I feel like I'm like standing on the shoulders of the giants right now, being supported universally in the world. And it's so amazing. I can talk a little bit, if you want, about my experience with actual publishing a book, because I actually made a lot of mistakes. And I think if you want, I can mention.
well, the people I know, that there's so many different ways of getting a work out there, of getting it published, of you know, of knowing when it's time, you know, of knowing when the book is ready, knowing when the world is ready for it, you know, at the different ways to do it, you know, the whole perception about self-publishing versus, you know, having an agent and going the traditional route, and like um, there's so many different ways to do it. And I just wanted to reflect back to you that this book is, sometimes you have a book that's totally guided. Like when I wrote The Bullying Antidote, I wrote it in 9 months. I'd get up at 4 a.m. and write until 8 a.m. And all the information that it needed just kind of came to me and my writing partner. And it was almost like yeah, this book needed to be written, because, you know, there was so much universal support for it. And I just feel like with, you know, your story around this book is so beautiful, because not only did you have this, it's like all the right stuff came to you, and I just think it's amazing, and just so romantic and beautiful, in terms of being a love story about, you know, how Les really did like send you off to a new shore. And welcome to your
Ah,
new
I love it.
shore.
Thank you.
Because,
I'm
you know,
so enjoying it. I love it.
once
I love this new shore.
writing a book, publishing a book does not change everybody's life.
No.
You know, it's a
No.
huge momentous moment when you like are that author and you manage to put something inside your fountain of jewels in hard copy. It's a legacy. It'll outlast you, and so it's like a piece of you out in the world that you know is
I
very,
love how
very.
you said this. It's true. I have to say that I had a great weekend. And I'm like, oh, I'm ranking number one. It's so cool. It's so cool. And then Monday came in and my energy levels went. And I had 8 interviews planned between Monday and Wednesday that had to be canceled because I had nothing to give. I was just exhausted. And my life is still the same life. And so I took some naps and then, I just recharged and came back and I'm back now for, as
Well,
long as I have
and
this
you're going to
energy.
be going. You'll be going through a lot of that. There's a lot of
Yeah, that's
intensity.
life.
Well, but in publishing and being visible, right? You know all about being
Yes.
visible, and you've just gotten a little more visible. And I really do hope that your wisdom reaches so many people with this, because it's a very interesting lens. It's a very interesting lens. I just want people to know she's not making this whole human design stuff up. It actually exists. There's a library. She researched, she put together, not just it's not just her own
Yeah,
take
I
on
didn't come
things.
up with that. No way. I
No,
found it. I
yeah,
discovered it and then it
right.
started and I live
And
by
like, and you
human design. I
and
do
you
apply
found
it.
a way to apply it to what you already did. And all of us can find a way
Exactly.
to apply it to what we already do. So if you want to learn more about, these terms we're kicking around, projector and 5-2 and
Yeah.
lines, and like that's just blah, 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 blah. But if you're interested in learning about it, just go out there and Google it, because there's so many teachers and
I have to say something about this.
yeah.
It's very important. Human design doesn't have a shallow end. It's a kind of like a very it's a very
That's
complex
a good way to
system.
put it.
Yeah, a lot of people come to it and they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. And the truth is that there is a wisdom in human design that you have a certain way that you're designed at the top level, right? Before we go deeper, it's very interesting to go deeper. There is amazing certified. I wouldn't say Google, because there's just so much misinformation out there because it's getting
Well,
popularized, right?
I was
This
just saying, if
Washington
you
Post thing.
Google it, you'll be able to get your chart right away.
Oh
And
yes,
then
you can
and
go
then
to like Jovian Archive, or yes, yes,
yeah,
yes. You
yeah.
you will be able to calculate your type. You will be able to calculate your profile. That's true. If you want to learn more, you just remember you don't need to know all the little numbers or whatever you see in order for them to work. What you do need is you need to follow a certain strategy that your energy type has. Listen to your inner guidance or the outer guidance, whatever guidance you have, right? There's 9 types. And then understanding your profile helps, or profile lines helps to see how, in a way, how you're showing up is like the outfit, the costume you're wearing, and how people see you, because it's slightly different, because people see more your unconscious side than you, right?
Right.
And it's so empowering, because when you know what
What
cockroaches you
people
have in your head,
see, right.
yes, or what people see, like we were discussing this line 5 earlier, right, about projections. When you're aware of that, you don't take it personally. When you're aware of that, you're kind of, you can show up in such an empowered way, and everything just rolls off like off the duck's back. It's just like water off the duck's back, I should say, because you know what's happening. You're aware about what's happening. I can give you one quick example. I am a line 1, right? Line 1 insecurity, biggest insecurity is imposter syndrome.
Oh, and
It's like,
I just wanted to say that everything that exists, in human design also has the flip side of it. So
oh
like,
yeah, shadow. Yeah,
so
yeah, of
right.
course. Yeah, it's not
So
just gifts. It's like
right.
frequency, right? You can
Yeah.
be vibrating on a lower frequency, or you can be vibrating on a high frequency. And on a lower frequency,
But
being aware of this.
well, we're going to end up talking too much about human design though. And this has been like 30 minminutes. And
Oh, it's okay. Well, let me finish
go
this,
on.
because if somebody will,
Yeah.
and then we will go off this. But with the imposter syndrome, because this will be also applicable to a lot of people who are writing, I think.
Exactly. And anybody who
Yeah.
forgot, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So when you know, for example, the imposter syndrome, when you understand that it actually comes from your natural trait, you understand then that it's never going to go away. And that was a big aha moment for me. And then you deal with it in a completely different way. It doesn't stop you. You just walk around it and you allow it to be there because it's just part of your brain. You're so always intellectually working, and you always know that there is more to learn. So you can't hold yourself back just because you don't know everything, because you never will. There's always going to be
Right.
a rabbit hole. And I
Well,
find that
hi,
when you're
Doubt.
right,
I know you're there. Hi, I
yes,
hear you.
that's it. And with, I think it doesn't matter even what your human design is, but when you are writing a book, when you're feeling like, oh, who am I to share, especially when it's not a fiction book, right? Especially when it's something, for me a huge problem was that I am not a certified human design expert, and I am only now diving deeper. I have a mentor and I'm diving deeper, but that's only because I'm really, really interested in the details. But you don't need to know the details in human design. You just need to know your strategy, authority, and everything. All your gifts start activating when you start making aligned decisions based on your inner guidance, your authority, and understand how to interact with people, your strategy. Like, we're projectors, we just need to be visible, and the right people will recognize us for that one thing, that specific one thing, not just like general recognition, and they will invite us, and that invitations might feel correct and you can accept it, and that could open a huge beautiful door into a new life for you. And that's just, these are the great things. Then you just stop hustling, you stop running around like a rabbit in the headlights, and not knowing what to do. You just do your thing. You study, or you if you want to do something, depending on what lights you up. And sometimes an energy type can also help you. So that's why I just wanted to put it out there, this juicy kind of little things, but also to don't get overwhelmed with how much information.
Yes.
Information is seductive for the mind, but it's not about information. The human design is so simple, and it can really change your life and your business and writing books and anything else that you apply it to. It's just really, really beautiful way of being.
Well, thank you so much for talking to me. If any, I would say, there's just a huge confidence boost in what she's talking about. And grab the new book. You also have a podcast.
I do.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
check out Juliette's website. There's tons of resources on there. Hire her to get your marketing blueprint, because it will blow your mind and make you happy. So,
It's true, and you're welcome. Go for the full whack. Go for the one with the Zoom call, because when you get the blueprint, it's like these days it's almost 50 pages. It depends on your, obviously, the design and how many things to have to talk about, but it could be 40, 50 pages. So that's so overwhelming. You need to talk about this, and you need to know how to apply it. And I think that this is where, if I have to brag and say what's my differentiation from other people who speak about human design, it's the practical application. It's like, okay, now we know that stuff, right? How we can apply it into your business. That's the most important, or into your journey.
No, I mean, you
That's
take that and you say, okay, this is your brand, this is your strategy. Like, somebody, I don't have to figure that out. You just like say, you understand marketing is the great thing. And I think that, and that's something that is so hard for every author, moving from one shore to another. And so, yeah, I think what you have is really valuable, and good luck to you. And now I'm tired. I'm going to go take a nap.
Awesome. Yeah, well, this is the life of the projector. I'm going to veg now after this interview. It's very late here now, almost 9 o'clock at night. And this is how the projectors are. We're just so vibrant, and we're like, oh, and then we just... And for the rest of the night, you won't see us, or for the rest of the day. And I love that, because all this gives you ease in life, because you just know, this is what I am, and not going to expect myself to be like a Duracell bunny. I am what I am. So there you go. If you want to be yourself and in your marketing, get the book. The link is just here. And thank you so much for having me, Kristen. I really, really enjoyed this.
Oh, likewise.
Okay, see you later.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
I did it.